All right, guys, we are live. I'm going to take this down.
Hello.
Hello.
I can't hear anything. What's going on?
Here?
Yeah, I can. I have to go to the bathroom real quick. I should have done that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. There's only 187 people watching, so it's okay. Oh. Oh, can Alex?
I like it.
Oh, yeah, he's on a plane right now. Okay. Well, we'll
not
get
to be confused with a blimp. He's not on a blimp. He's on a plane.
Not on a blimp. It's just.
I'm gonna have to sit up more.
I think sometimes it gets confused. Eastern time, Standard Time, like all of that stuff. Oh, you know what? There's some. Jamie had said like.
Did you want to send to Alex or no? It might be last minute. For later. I mean, whatever. At some point, if she wants to talk for 10 minutes. Or Lydia. People love Lydia.
Okay, I will. I'll send the link to Lydia.
What time did you go to bed last night? I went to bed early. I was like, fuck this. Bed. I ate a bowl of lasagna in my bed, and then I turned off the light.
All right, I'm sending this link.
And I didn't even brush my teeth. I don't care. Steve went to bed while I stayed up drinking wine, listening to Zoran's victory speech.
You know what? I have a few clips of that to put up.
I didn't watch any of that, so I'm just raw dogging this. Mom's on the right now. I have not watched anything.
That's okay. Everyone, I think so you live in Virginia, you can.
Yeah, I live here. Like, what else do you want from me?
You live there.
I'm in my Virginia house right now. I know. Wake up. You went back? Wow. All right. Okay. You talk a big game. I got guilted into coming back. You talk a big game. You think I'm a salesperson? Yeah.
You clip.
No, I got it. TJ got the girls off to school, and then my house cleaners came, and I'm working. So, like,
my husband took the kids to school too. I was like, I can't today, honey. Please. It was up too late looking at political stuff, thinking about.
I had 100 text messages when I opened my eyes this morning, though. I was so cross-eyed. Jack this morning, he's like, when did I break my leg? And I was like, 1. And he's like, Dad says 2. And I'm like, I haven't had coffee yet. Let me go look at some pictures from 13 years ago. And I'm like, months. Yep, here it is. You're 2. Oh, 6 months later, you broke your thumb. Glad CPS didn't get called.
I guess I can take out show starting soon. It started. Well, we're still like.
You wrote back to Alex Stein. Are you writing to Alex Bauer or no?
Oh, Alex Bauer. Yes.
All right. Do you want me to message her?
I got it. I got it right here. You can go to. I'm trying to get tickets.
All right. So what are we thinking of my hair with hot rollers? I'm going OG because that's all I have here at the mountain. Like my mom's like old school. I like it. Kelly is doing her hairs with a hot roll. I need to try it. I did it like down the middle and. Not today, but when I did them the other time. Yeah, I'm undecided. Try to get a little bit more up here, I think. You might have to I think my hair is just too long. No, I think that's part of the zhuzh of it. I think maybe like some hairspray and some. Yeah, there's like zero product. I like a big hair look. No, but I don't care about any of those things. I need somebody to style me outfits and ship them to me. And I need someone to tell me exactly what makeup to put on my face and exactly what products to do for my hair. Like, I fail in every single one of these areas.
Hair Fest products are my favorite. Now we can talk. Contact the products that I'm here.
wash
it, and start like saying, and maybe I'll be sponsored.
I go to bed with my hair wet. You go to bed with your hair wet? Sure do. Mm-hmm. Why? Is there a secret to that? Mm-mm.
There's, I think that's
less heat, less damage, I guess. I don't know.
Less wet. Well, yeah, it can, or it can make your hair like a little curlier. I mean, I only wash my hair once a week, so because I have like sometimes I can even go 10 days sometimes, just because ethnic hair. Yeah. If I don't have like, it takes like 2 hours just to flat iron all my hair. So it takes a village. But
and this is the kinds of conversations that got us these election results last night. People not knowing who they're voting for. How come you have to have a YouTube account to join the live chat?
Yeah, how can we? I wonder how.
It didn't used to be like that, did it?
I know that's. Yeah, because no, Facebook should be able to show chat.
Great.
I'll have to check
those. Logged in. I don't know.
Comments. Let's see. When streaming to a profile, viewer comments won't show up unless the stream is public on Facebook. By default, it is friends only. Why is that? It should be public on Facebook. Here, let me check. I can change that. Why is that? It should be public. All right, I'm going to change that right now. Well, if it's, that makes sense if. That's a default I have to fix. I had no idea that it was set to private. I wonder if that's the same thing with Moms for Liberty, because if it's set to private, then that makes like the reach a lot harder. I'll have to check that later. Well, that's not good. All right, so election. Oh, I talked about it a lot on the Moms for Liberty, on Unleashed, on our live streams. We did some, we tried to talk to regular people. We talked to influencers, and I didn't have a chance to air. I had a conversation with Terry Schilling, right? I think it was about 5 o'clock Eastern time. And I'm going to download and play some of it maybe at the end, because he did not sound at all optimistic. And I think he had already seen some polling that wasn't great.
Well, I don't think anybody was really expecting. I mean, Jamie, I didn't expect Winsome to win. I didn't go into election night thinking that that was going to happen. Did you? I don't know. I don't know what I think anymore.
I wasn't expecting.
In my head, I was thinking like there's not really another option for Virginia. I don't know. I really don't know.
I wasn't expecting Jake Collins to win.
No, I think that's the one for me. Right. Do you think that people were going to go into the ballot box and vote for the governor and lieutenant governor and not vote for attorney general or vote for Jason? Like, what did we think was going to happen? I think if I were a Virginia voter and I wanted to vote for Abigail, right? And I think that there are a lot of people who are blind, right? Like, let's take those people into account who probably didn't know somehow about what he said. But then there's the cohort of people who did. And then what do you do with it when you do, right? And from where I'm sitting, if you can't bring yourself to support Jason, then maybe you just should sit that vote out or do a write-in, right? Like, how can you in good conscience vote for someone who said those things? And I think that that's where my voting I would have either written somebody in or left it blank or considered the alternative and said, I'm going to have more allegiance to my moral compass than the political party next to someone's name.
I'm sending something to Scarlett to pull up because I mean this is Virginia now. It's the Louise Lucas. I think she's the.
Okay.
We talked about her last week because she was in all of the photos promoting that rally within the school.
All right, I'm pulling it up right now.
There was like some whole thing going around that Jay Jones kicked a dog yesterday. I watched the video. He did not kick the dog. It was weird. The whole thing was weird and but
also though you could see him cover up for like whatever the action was, he reacted to the action by then going to try and pet chase the dog.
So that post from her?
Yeah, I mean, but this is what's happening. Like you literally can do like
all right.
She basically posted an AI video where she turned Jason Miares into the dog and Jay Jones does kick it.
All right, let's watch it.
It's in Virginia. Very classy.
Well, there was a good school board win in Loudoun County, so that's a positive, right? Like we had somebody that I think Moms for Liberty would get behind win school board there, so pretty pumped about that. Amy Riccardi.
That's great.
Loudoun County is capital W, capital O, capital K, capital E. So they can use all the help they can get.
Well, what do you think's going to happen in Virginia now, Jamie? Parental? Do you think that we're going to get more chapters or more involvement? Because
I mean, I hope so. I mean, the goal would to be, you know, everyone that went out and voted. So what did she have? 1.4 million votes, 1.5 million votes. Like, what are those parents going to do now? I think if they got involved in something, if they showed up in Richmond, if they went to their school board meetings, what kind of change could we have here?
Necessity is the mother of invention.
But like, why stop your advocacy and why stop your values at the ballot box? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
So do you think that, I mean, obviously Virginia has been in the news with the Department of the Office of Civil Rights, the Department of Justice, Linda McMahon, they have come down hard on, was it 4 or 5 school districts?
Yeah, 5.
Fairfax County, Loudoun County. What are some of the other counties that?
Fairfax, Loudoun, Arlington, Prince William County. I think those are the 5.
Those 4. Fab 4. Unfab 4.
Alexandria, I guess, Arlington, Loudoun, Prince William, Fairfax.
Okay, so because they have stood firm, they will not comply with the executive orders from President Trump. They're not complying with the guidance issued by the Department of Education, the threats of withholding federal funding, and the threats of lawsuits, all of that. They have not complied. They're like, want the boys in the girls' bathroom, and then in some cases in Loudoun County, a girl making boys uncomfortable by changing it in their locker area in middle school, and the boys charged with sex discrimination, suspension, expulsion. Their parents have to get attorneys fees in the 6 figures, and a judge that basically ordered that they had to prove that they could, and something I've never heard of, the the plaintiffs had to have the cash on hand and show that they were willing to pay back the school district if they lost in court. I mean, that's that, and they got the money. They've raised the money. This is proceeding, this litigation. I know how that goes, to be in litigation for a while. So all of that. And still, I think a lot of Virginians, I'm guessing, because they've had the cover of Youngkin, who hasn't been perfect, but there's been protection provided by Governor Youngkin and a very slim Democratic majority in the House of Delegates by 2. I think they haven't felt the full weight of woke, but they're about to.
I mean, we felt a lot of the weight of woke during COVID. So same thing, like every parent that voted for Youngkin, every parent that voted for Trump, I don't know. I'm not going to speak for everyone. I'm going to get to work. So I hope my fellow Virginians join me.
Well, parents, maybe a lot of the parents that were fighting really hard, 2020, 2021, 2022, their kids have graduated. They've moved. They've given up on public schools. They've moved to state. They are in private school. They're homeschooling. That's what I see a lot in different states. Like, you'll have a core group, but they'll age out, kids graduate, or they figure, I'm done, I'm just moving, or I'm homeschooling. And then they can
it's not even public education. I mean, I think our Virginia GOP needs a smidge of an overhaul also. So lots of work to be done.
I think the bigger issue, and again, Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the bulk of the voting and the determination is coming out of Northern Virginia. Oftentimes people will point to a map of Virginia and say, look how red it is. Well, the people live in the teeny tiny top part, right? So all that red is rural and doesn't make up for the number of people voting who live in an area that has just been impacted by the Schumer shutdown, right? So hundreds of thousands of Democrats had a month off to go volunteer and knock doors, right? And get out the vote and go to events and post all over social media, right? And make sure that their party got out and help volunteer with messaging and creating campaign ads, for free. And so it kind of is a perfect storm, not to mention that it is the white progressive women, college educated, who handed this over for Spamberger and Jay Jones. Like, it's the epitome of toxic feminism, where you are voting against what is morally right and just because you have no true needs. Like, your Maslow's hierarchy of needs have been met. And so as a response, you are manufacturing problems and supporting issues like gender ideology, right? Reducing merit in schools. And so they now manufacture problems, which turns into socialism, turns into communism, because we need to provide for everyone in order to make sure that they can thrive and survive. Am I wrong in any of that?
Nope.
No, I don't think you're wrong. And I also think we're hearing a lot of, should we be focusing on the culture war issues? And I think it's all connected. I mean, I think we can see that. I don't know.
So here's an example. I posted on social media on the Moms for Liberty X account, the Instagram account, Jacob's New Dress. That book has been on my radar for 3 years, right? Like, you guys, Jacob's New Dress, part of curriculum for pre-K. You wouldn't believe how many comments like, oh my gosh, they've never seen it before. So how many people have never seen that book before? They never heard about that. So I think rebrand, like, I think refreshing. We don't lose the message, but I think we have to reevaluate how we send it. To me, I think when you get a little too graphic, when you go straight to like the hardcore books, it can repel people, and then they're like, oh, I'm out. But I think sometimes just showing the subtle things that are happening to very young kids and doing it in a non-hyperbolic way. Being reasonable, rational, and then kind of winning over independents who, from what I'm looking at, did not come out. Independents in New Jersey, a lot of them who said, yep, I would prefer Chitterelli over what's over Mikey. I don't live there. I don't
Yeah.
Mickey. In polls said, yeah, but they didn't vote. They didn't show up to vote. And so, maybe he wouldn't have won even with that, but maybe it would have been closer, So I think the government shutdown had a part. I do think it was like a perfect storm, a lot of different things. And these are states that Biden won, Kamala Harris won. But then when you look county by county, I know I was looking at even Chitterelli, like counties that he won when he ran before he did not win this time around. So there was a motivation. The Democrats were motivated, Republicans weren't.
Yeah. And we saw a shift here even since Trump's election in my conservative district in my conservative county. So I don't know. I'm tired of making excuses for people, so I'm not going to do it.
And I guess my question is,
you want to save America, get involved. Like,
yeah. The thing that I struggle with is understanding why people don't get out to vote. Like, I genuinely, I need to do more research on understanding that. Like, it's.
I think they've lost trust in the system. I mean, what else could
anybody? I don't know. Or they just don't. They're just too lazy.
I look at it as an obligation, right? You have an obligation to help manage the government that we are responsible for. So you're not meeting your obligation as a productive member of society by choosing to not vote. I think it is one of the most basic rights that we have, and that you wouldn't flex it. I don't get that. You help me understand that, somebody, why you would not care about voting.
I also think it's too early voting is too long. It's too long. It starts too soon. People vote. They send in ballots before they've even
was there better voter turnout when it was just the day of voting? Like, I wonder what those numbers look like.
I'm pretty sure it was. We can look it up.
Yeah. I've always said, half jokingly, half serious, is remove Columbus Day as a federal holiday, remove June 19th as a federal holiday, and make Election Day a federal holiday. We get one working day back, GDP goes up, and the day that's the most important to protecting what our country was founded on, the people getting involved in the process, nobody has an excuse that they have to work.
Yeah.
Except for, like, you have, of course, your service members overseas and things to that extent. But if it's a national holiday.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Have it be a national holiday. And if you must.
We had plenty of holidays during our 6 weeks of early voting, and we still couldn't make it work. I mean, like, how many holidays do we have to count that we had in Virginia between September 20th and Election Day that we just still couldn't?
It's a holiday.
So I guess that goes back to, like, why I don't get it. I don't get people who don't vote.
That employers have to
go vote forward and ask them.
Like, there's voting on Saturdays, which there isn't in Wisconsin, but there's. I know that I heard in New Jersey you could vote on Saturday.
That was vote up until this past Saturday in Virginia.
Yeah, vote. So there you go. I think that have it, if you don't want to have it a day, have it a week, but you didn't get to vote in that week. Too bad for you. Too bad. Like, come on. That's it. Like, give this, we need all this time. No, we don't. If you care enough, you'll get out to vote. It's too long. And that means that people, they have no idea what's going on or investment. We're making it so easy for people that don't have even comprehend. If you ask them, hey, you voted for Jay Jones, do you even know one thing about him? I guarantee most would be like,
But I think that there's also so much, I mean, we have elections every year in Virginia, like we have no off years. And so there's so much important place on our presidential election years and money and time. And I mean, it's probably burnout too. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if Marianne Jensen in Prince William County has stopped knocking doors since she started, because it is every single election, every single year.
Which means you have to hire consultants. It's become a business. See, politics has become a business, an enterprise. And because of that, then I think you always need consultants, you need groups, you need to funnel money. And now that it's become a business, well, what a business is going to fight to stay alive. And so more elections. And I think there's some major structural challenges and problems that I don't know. I mean, and now do you think Virginia is going to redistrict?
I don't know.
Well, and I think the reality is too, we are suffering from, we got Trump into office, so Trump will fix everything. And so people have taken their foot off the gas. And it couldn't be further from the truth, because you look at it, it's like people have to think, we the people got Trump elected into office, right? Like we did that by going out and voting. So if we want to continue in that same pattern, we have to continue with that same momentum. Like we have to keep showing up. And it didn't happen. And this is what happens when you take your foot off the gas.
So I think what I'm reading with mail-in ballots, voting has increased about 5-fold in some areas. But I'd have to do more research. I mean, I think there's been some increase in turnout, yeah, but it's still, I think if you looked, you'd probably still be hovering around 30% in elections that are non-presidential. I think turnout is greater where there are these concentrated efforts for mail-in, and I know that you've seen Scott Pressler, you saw Turning Point. I know Moms for Liberty, we were part of a vote early effort in Wisconsin, and there was a slight uptick in Wisconsin, but by that, I think we got to maybe 17% of Republicans voted early. So it got higher, but it's nowhere near the numbers that the Democrats have. They've got more than half of their voters vote by mail-in ballot. They vote early, and I think that frees up a lot of time to go chase some other votes. So that's kind of a little.
So where do we go from here is the question, right? Like where do we? How do we? The midterms are in front of us, right? Midterms are historically a referendum on the last 2 years of the administration. Last night was not great for conservatives or common sense Americans. So especially in the state, like there were city local races that were won, school board races that are won. Like we can't let these big media leading losses be the primary driver, albeit they are big and they are impactful. But like, where do we go from here?
Well, there were a lot of bright spots with school board races, endorsed candidates. If you go to the Moms for Liberty social media page, I can pull some of that up. There are wins there where we won it. And then probably a lot of non-endorsed candidates won. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of that. Also, New Jersey and Virginia were, when you looked at the numbers, these weren't exactly, most were hoping for a miracle, but the numbers did not look great for Winsome beforehand. They didn't look like an easy win for Chitterelli. I know there was a lot more hope to move that maybe Chitterelli could possibly win by a narrow margin. I do think people did not expect Jay Jones to win. I think that's a big surprise. They did not expect for him to win. But the 15-seat flip in Virginia, the House of Delegates.
Yeah, I want to say, I think the updated numbers were like 13 seats.
13. Okay. So that, I don't know if that came as a surprise to folks in Virginia.
I mean, how could it not? How could it not? It's crazy. I don't even have words, so I don't know.
Were those districts concentrated in traditionally blue areas? I mean, so what you sent me, Jamie, could you send me that again? Because I lost that link. You sent me a really good link, Jamie, a kind of crystal ball. And there were two scenarios, and there was best case scenario for conservative and then worst case. And we obviously fell under the worst case.
40 text threads going.
Yeah. But there was an analysis. There was a lot more vulnerable seats for Republicans. So that has to be known, that there were a lot more seats that were barely won when young, like barely won.
I mean, even so Ian Lovejoy was running for re-election. He won, flipped the seat, in the last race, and he lost to Elizabeth Guzman. And so radical, I think she wanted to start the tip line during COVID to like turn parents into social service. It was crazy. A couple years ago, they redistricted the northern half of my conservative county to fall to Loudoun, and that seat is now, Fauquier, the northern part of Fauquier County is now going to be represented by a Democrat, and I think it's at the first time in 30 years. Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I mean, this is very good. And this kind of just goes through.
Yeah, that's from all of the states, I think.
I'm just kind of reading. California had Proposition 50, but
that passed.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is all. There wasn't. We had a great win in Iowa for city council. We had Shelley Flockhart. I had her on yesterday. She won. So had this election been centered in Florida or some red areas, I think we would have seen something different. But I also think that I hope that this is a wake-up call so that there's a year to look at what happened, analyze it, and try to recalibrate for the midterms.
Who's recalibrating though? The GOP? Like, who's doing the recalibration?
Yeah. So yeah, if you're somebody who wants a recalibration before the midterms, like what does that look like, right? Like how do you? And this is just a rhetorical or maybe like an open-ended, I don't have the answer, but what does that look like? Does it say we need fresh blood in the GOP? Does that mean we need, at Moms for Liberty to go hard at certain key swing states? Does it talk about, coalition partnerships between like us again and another mom's organization or women's organization? Is it specific targeting of women who are similar ages, similar geographics? Like how do we do what Charlie Kirk did in galvanizing young men with the women who ultimately delivered all of these candidates their victories?
Well, let's think about there's some big races. Ohio,
letting like the League of Women Voters into our high schools.
There needs to be, in my opinion, I text you guys this, there needs to be a stronger, more robust conservative women's movement and stronger voice. When I was looking for election coverage, I went down the list of live streams and it was all male dominated. And typically that's what I see. That's why that's been my motivation to do a lot of this stuff, because there aren't a lot of women talking, like regular women kind of talking about some bread and butter issues and kitchen table issues, and also just even like we are higher level issues. We see something different. And I think we've been saying for a long time that the cost of groceries matters. The cost of healthcare matters, how expensive it is for college, that trades aren't being emphasized. What's happening in schools matters. We talk about that a lot at Moms for Liberty. The how expensive it is to have a family.
The border matters. Our safety matters.
Yes. And we talk about that a lot. So I'm talking that some of the things we don't talk about and that are real. And there's not an easy solution. You can't snap your fingers. Trump can't wave a magic wand and just undo all that has been done. It takes a little
all
bit.
That's been learned, right? It's actually an unlearning of, feminist ideology, right? Like women our age who don't think like us right now have been trained on a different set of beliefs.
Yeah. And so, what I think getting involved culture, that's why we've talked with Lydia, like Jamie Franklin, some younger Gen Z, then getting involved and trying to speak to women more. And I think that's something that could be helpful. But really coming up with a plan, I really liked, and I could post that too at some point. I liked what Vivek said. And he's like, listen, we just have to be real. There's some key issues that we need to talk about, and we need to stop engaging in identity politics on the right. We've just got to stop fighting amongst each other, quit all of the drama. And a lot of that drama is happening among men right now, conservative men. So stop the drama and let's get down to what matters to the American people. And we also have to have a message for young people, young men, young women. And Charlie Kirk was a big part of that. Now he's not here. So more standard bearers, maybe not just one, multiple. There can't be just one person. There needs to be, and frankly, I don't know if there's one person that could fill his shoes. So there needs to be multiple people and multiple voices. And I think that Democrats have a year-round 12-month operation that's well-funded. They have how many PACs, how many different C3s, how many different C4s. And it's not the same on the right. That's not there. Not for lack of trying, as we know. So there needs to be.
Well, I think it goes back to there's a moral threshold that we won't cross. Like, let's look at what happened with the young Republicans and some of those texts that Politico pulled up, right? And how we condemned them and said they needed to be removed from the GOP, et cetera, et cetera. Like, we have a moral threshold that doesn't unify us as Republicans, right? We just know right from wrong. The Democratic Party doesn't, as far as I can tell. They have no moral high ground. They have no threshold. They are cool with us getting murdered and our kids getting murdered if we think differently than them. And I don't know that I want to change that, because I'm not going to lose my moral high ground. I'm not going to lose good and true and right to win an election. Like, my good and true and right is with Jesus Christ in heaven. Like, I'm winning that election. So we might continue to lose here because we're not gonna just continually, we won't accept bad behavior.
We're dealing with people who aren't principled. I mean, what do you do? They literally cannot tell the difference between right and wrong.
Well, I think what you don't do is lose your principles, but
right, you don't waver on them.
Yeah, you can't lose your principles in order to win, but you have to art of war. You have to be cunning. You have to be smart. You have to, I think that if what we believe is the truth, and then I think that we, I think we win in the end, but they are so successful at othering us and making us into such an enemy that we're so bad that you could put our face on a dog and kick it. It's okay because they're less than human. That's what critical race theory does. That's what Marxism does. That's what they're very successful.
That's what the pro-choice movement does. It calls you a fetus or an embryo, and it gives you these names that aren't human, so that way we can murder you.
Mm-hmm. And so then that comes back to culture. So a lot of people want to abandon right away culture, but then it's because of culture, because they can dehumanize and devalue their opposition. They can in a debate, when Winsome Sears says, what have you to say? Abigail Spanberger can just look and no one cares, because you learn, and even in high school, you don't have to answer someone who you consider a neo-Nazi. Like they're too below you. You don't even have to speak to them. You don't have to reduce yourself to that, because they are an oppressor. So don't even engage. Why would you engage with someone like that? And that's acceptable. We don't even understand it. We still, after all this time, don't fully understand how insidious Stalinist, Maoist propaganda is and how effective it is. It's very effective. And when it starts young and they brainwash kids at a very young age, it has some catastrophic consequences. Oh, look here, that's a good timing to play this. Hold on.
To those so often forgotten by the politics of our city who made this movement their own, I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas, Senegalese taxi drivers and Uzbek nurses, Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties. Yes, aunties. To every New Yorker in Kensington and Midwood and Hunts Point.
And here's another one.
Standing before you, I think of the words of Jawaharlal Nehru. A moment comes but rarely in history when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends and when the soul of a nation long suppressed finds utterance. Tonight we have stepped out from the old into the new. So let us speak now with clarity and conviction that cannot be misunderstood about what this new age will deliver and for whom. This will be an age where New Yorkers expect from their leaders a bold vision of what we will achieve, rather than a list of excuses for what we are too timid to attempt.
So I think just listening and take out try and listening to it impartially, you can see some of the draw to him. You can see why young people.
100%. He is promising that you will own nothing and be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we're already seeing this trend where people don't want to own cars. They don't want to own houses, right? They don't want to have children. They want no responsibility. So no commitments in life. They don't, want to get married until later on.
They want to be governed.
To own nothing and be happy.
They want to be governed hard.
They don't want to have to think.
How do you coexist with that? I don't even understand it. So
he said
everything in my whole person.
He said there is no problem too small for the government to solve, nor too big for the government to solve. Direct quote. No problem too small. Nothing too big.
I just sent you something about Scarlett on that chat that I don't know if it's real, that ISIS is expressing support for his victory.
Oh my gosh.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens, to say the least, right? Like New York is going to happen. It's happening one way or another, and so it's what you do, right? When a decision happens
when
and
is
something.
he sworn in? Do we know? Is that?
I think it's in January. Yeah.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. I could chat GPT that.
Trying to get to the city before that. So
eventually you run out of other people's money, because entrepreneurs and highly successful people find a way to diversify. They find a way to offshore. They find a way to put it into charitable giving funds, right, to protect their wealth for themselves and their family, right? Like, this is inherent, the protectionist of what you have built and your wealth. So eventually you're going to run out of other people's money, and then what, right? So sometimes we have to learn hard lessons.
It was Alex Thoros that just took posted a photo with him congratulating him. So do they run out of money? I don't know.
I think, okay, so taxpayer money.
Right. Oh,
right. That's right. Yeah. Like,
oh yeah.
New York taxpayer money. Yeah.
RIP Constitution. So Democratic candidate for lieutenant governor holds startling rally. Like, this is just.
No, I mean, she won. So
now she's more than the candidate. She's the winner. RIP Constitution. There she is.
Oh. And so I think too, what was interesting, so we hopped over and watched some of the election coverage last night on CNN and MSNBC. You guys know I'm like really guilty of like looking at what's happening outside of my ethos, right? Like, and the glee on MSNBC's faces, like you couldn't even be recognized as journalists with like bipartisan, non-position based integrity. Like, it was just like pure glee. But on CNN, the takeaway that they were celebrating was that Virginia was going to have their first female governor. They were like, we're shocked that this is like the first time ever. And it's nice to have some gender representation. And so it goes back to like, okay, Maryland, just north of them, like has never had a female governor either. Like, why are we still living in identity politics? But that is the way of the world on the other side of the coin that isn't interested in having a merit-based society. They're just happy a woman got picked. And I'm like, I'm never ever going to pick anyone based on their race, their sex, or their like I'm going to do it based.
Lieutenant governor is the female Muslim candidate who won. So
yeah, we could put females. When Democrats run females, when female Supreme Court candidates, they're like, winning by 10 to 12 points. It's, thank God Kamala Harris didn't win, but she was just a uniquely terrible candidate. And Trump he had an amazing campaign. He did a great job, and they tried to kill him several times. So that was a big deal. I think it really opened people's eyes, the way that they went after him. And he's just Trump is a unique personality because he has captured the imagination of pop culture. So people know who he is. And it's just a unique phenomenon. When he's on, Republicans do better because of that, the draw that he is. So when he's not on,
and he's not ever going to be on. That's the thing. Like,
nope.
He is done running for president. And so my concern and focus is, how do we make the last 2 years of his term not lame duck and protect the House and Senate? That's where we need to be focused, so that we can actually have 4 years of being able to get stuff done instead of one more.
What do you guys think about what they're saying about the filibuster?
I am very hesitant to do that.
So am I. I think That's
I can't
Pandora.
look at this picture anymore. You have to take this
Oh,
down.
I'll find the other. I know.
And so, and I don't, I want to make sure I'm getting it right too. We're considering getting rid of the filibuster so that we can reopen the government.
Yes.
And I think that the Schumer shutdown happened intentionally long so that the government workers could then, and the government workers from DC, Maryland, and Virginia, right, who believe in Abigail and her team, could then go into Virginia and flood and work and flood and work and flood and work. So
I don't even
I
think
guess
it's
the
that.
question
I think
is,
it's caused frustrations among conservative voters, right? Like they got told they could stay home during COVID and they stayed home and they moved and they did these things. And then it's the, mass layoffs. And then it affected both parties. Maybe the Democrats certainly probably took advantage of it in a different way, but Republican voters were disenfranchised. Like they didn't go out and vote. I know plenty of them that were angry and mad and chose to stay home.
and I think the thing I'm thinking though is, are the Democratic senators going to be open to reopening the government now that the election is over? And I would hate for us to pull the lever on removing the filibuster if they're close to reopening without us having to pull that lever.
Well, I'm sure they are.
I don't think that they should do it. I think it's a trap. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because I think don't, like, that filibuster has protected us from a lot of bad things. And I would be, I think, no, don't.
What's the famous John Adams quote that we have on our website? Liberty once lost can never end. Is it insert the word filibuster with liberty?
That would mean
once it's gone.
Majority. That would mean that, that it's just, as painful as it is, I think government needs to move slow. It's when it's moved quickly that some of the worst damage was done, like COVID. I think government needs to move at a
like, why would we give them any ground now? I mean, it's been closed for how many days? And if for any reason we think that they kept the government closed through the election, what?
I mean, are the Democrats going to keep it closed till the next election? I mean,
right. I mean,
yeah, call their bluff.
And I guess too, like here is where I don't know enough, so I'm like asking too, like, why are we not using this time right now to reevaluate who is eligible for SNAP benefits? Right now is the time when we are talking about how we got the president into office, how we got the House, how we got the Senate. It was because we wanted fiscal reform, right? We wanted a reduction in government bureaucracy and spending. So how do we do those things now? Right now? Like, we already don't have enough money to fully fund SNAP. And if we took a hard audit, look at this stuff, I guarantee you there are people on there that are selling their SNAP benefits, right? They are using other people's SNAP benefits. They're buying unhealthy food. So why would we not now use this as a time for an audit of that program and any other program under the government umbrella? Whatever we can, how do we leverage it for further driving the agenda that we all voted for?
I think so there are a lot of so-called Republicans, independents, low propensity voters that would vote with, I think, center right, and they feel disaffected or disenfranchised and they don't want to vote, or they just don't feel motivated to vote. Is some of that because so much of what the GOP focuses on is trying to win over that moderate, trying to win over, like, maybe we could win over. Is that, and by doing so, making compromises, you have to make some compromises, but making compromises on some key things. So Rosalind, what you're saying, let's reevaluate SNAP benefits. What if they're GOP saying, I can't do that because then I would have no chance of winning this certain voter. Well, is there a chance, really? Is there a chance when you look at what's happened in Virginia and New Jersey and New York? Are you sacrificing certain voters in the hopes to win voters who are just not that into you, and they're not going to be? So should you maybe just love the one you're with?
Well, and you think, like, when the SNAP program first started, I think it was 1 in 50 people were using it, and now we're at 1 in 8. So think about
And
that,
it wasn't supposed
right?
to be like a long-term, right, assistance program. Like, can you be on SNAP forever? I don't know.
And are you on it because the cost of groceries is astronomical? So does it come back to the fact that we need to not through the government, like not have the government do it, but why? Why is the cost so high? What can we do to bring it down so that more people can afford groceries? I think maybe SNAP.
But it's accountability factor, right? Like if you can't afford your groceries, who's looking at you to see if you can't afford your brand new iPhone or getting your nails? Like, there's no,
like, maybe SNAP benefits, like, to help get you off of the supplemental nutrition assistance program. Part of that needs to be a life coach that goes through your audit and says, like, do you want to have milk or do you want to have Disney Plus?
Well, why do you think formula costs so much? Because the government subsidies of it.
But are we trying to get a trajectory where we're getting these people off the, right? Like helping them in their life to get them off the SNAP benefits, or are we making them reliant on the government?
So, but here we're talking about the people. But what about the fact that formula costs $30 a can because it's subsidized by the government? Who loves that? Probably Johnson & Johnson and the people that own so they get, so are we going after sometimes the wrong? Are we going after the people that can't afford formula more than the companies that are benefiting?
Are they buying formula for it, or are they buying Fanta, or,
and
Coke and Cheetos? Like, what are they buying?
With WIC, you have to buy.
That's different.
But it is formula is outrageously expensive because it's subsidized by the federal government and state government, because there's so much money going in and so many people get it for quote unquote free, which it's not free. Take away those subsidies and the cost is going to go down. And of course, they're not going to make it. They're like, businesses are going to not get the profit margin that they had. But so it's complicated, and it means that I think some of the high price of food has to do with the fact that the government subsidizes so much of these industries, pays them money. This is artificial. Like, this isn't real, and the prices don't reflect the real economy. This is more of a corporatism. And so kids who are in their 20s look at this and they see how unfair it is, and they think this is capitalism, which it is not capitalism. It is corporatism. It is the government sponsoring corporations and picking and choosing the winners and losers, giving contracts to some and not to others. And that's what a lot of 20-year-olds
that's across both parties then. So then we're right.
Yeah, it is. That's a both party thing. Because who wants to be the person that says, I'm going to make some big changes to WIC? Because immediately, you're tarred and feathered. But the deeper conversation where you're talking to them about basic economics, and here, maybe if they learned these things when they were in high school, they could ask these questions, but they don't. So they don't ask questions. We ask questions. We think about these things thoughtfully. We go, my husband owns a business, so like thinks about these things and asks, a little bit more, and things a little more deeper. And the minute, because we talk like this to our kids, because they'll say some stupid thing, and then my husband will sit down and walk them through, and by the end they're like, oh, okay, yeah, then I get it. but someone has to walk them through. Otherwise, they're going to be susceptible to this propaganda. The billionaires, they're the reason why your formula costs $30. When I'm in charge, I'm going to make sure it only costs $8. But what they really mean is they're still going to pay that company this $30. It's just going to come from taxpayers, and it'll be subsidized. And then you only pay $8, you think, except for in every aspect of your life, you're paying taxes. You're paying for it. No matter what you do, you're paying for it. Some way, somehow. It's just you don't notice it.
You're not wrong. And I think the reality is no politician no federal politician, I'll say it this way, wants to be the person to acknowledge that we have an economic crisis on our hands and we have to do something about it, even though doing something about it is hard and will hurt certain groups of people in different ways. And because we don't have term limits, they can continue to go back into DC and fall in love with the swamp, and they want to care more about getting reelected than doing the hard, uncomfortable things that are genuinely in the best interests of helping individuals thrive in a culture of liberty, for them to be independently successful without the government, right? At the end of the day, that's my take on it.
But then we have to look at, like, so what was the playbook about, you know, the push, and we can to all of this and the pressure to say, okay, the Department of Education has to go, right? Like, why are we not doing, like, what was the tipping point there? What was the pressure that was said, this isn't working?
It was parents. It was the pandemic, right? Like, time and time again, it was the pandemic and parents waking up and realizing what was going on in public education. We were all, I think, a little asleep at the wheel. At least I was. Thought I knew what was going on.
Like, this government shutdown, right? And, you know, of course, with the pandemic, it took a little bit longer. Probably, you know, most of us in the 6, 8, 12 weeks. And then, of course, once schools started to not reopen that fall. So, I mean, it's kind of, you know, I think it could potentially be the same way with this shutdown. At what point are enough people going to get together to do something?
Yeah, you're right. It took something pretty catastrophic and that it also was a collective experience that crossed party lines, that everyone went through together across the country. And you had to look whether you were apolitical, left, right. If you had kids in a school system, you saw what was happening and you saw what wasn't happening. And I think, what's happening in New York, does New York have to experience communism? Will they survive it when they do?
Will America survive it? I mean, like, we're infiltrated. It's here. It's the activation part of this that I think that we're completely unaware of and probably not prepared for.
I think we're seeing a Chinese-style corporatism, communism in California on the West Coast, and I think we're seeing more of a Castro-esque South American communism on the East Coast, like identity-based. And then you go over to California, and it's more of a corporatist, like Chinese kind of style operation. So, I mean, and then you see like Florida, like operating free state, like just this.
And at least I can appreciate everybody in the South as being like, we're full. Don't come here. You did this to yourself. Don't come here. But here's my honest question. Like, what does the world look like if, and I'm making this up on the spot, if Florida decides to introduce legislation that says we do not accept people from New York? Like, could they do that? I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm not saying I support it. I'm throwing a serious hypothetical that is like, what if they're like, we don't want your beliefs?
I think
I'm not moving to New York.
I would think the first wave of people that would leave will be the remaining holdouts of more conservatives.
Not really. I think it would be the people with money, and then they're just going to bring their nonsense with them.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people that can't afford to just relocate.
Well,
it's kind of what's happened here, actually, in Northern Virginia, to be quite honest. It's the people that wanted to move out from the busy Maryland and Northern Virginia regions into my county to have more yard. And
how does Fauquier downtown look, Jamie? Is it the same as it was 10 years ago?
I can't speak to 10 years ago, but it's certainly not the same as it was 6 years ago. It is woke. It is becoming very inclusive to the LGBTQIA plus agenda.
So what I have on screen, this is where President Trump is today, in Miami, the American Business Forum. He probably will be speaking soon. I'll have to see. I don't know if that's going to be covered live. The tickets were very expensive to be here, but there will be Ken Griffin will be there, a lot of billionaires, CEOs, and Trump is speaking. And should be interesting as we're talking about the fact what effect is what's happening in New York and in Virginia and New Jersey, the East Coast, like what was left of like the Glenn Youngkin, one of the only left Republican governors on the East Coast. I think he was the last one.
What do you mean
now,
for what?
Like the Glenn Youngkin is one of the last Republican governors left on the East Coast, right?
I don't know.
I mean, even when there were Republicans, they were, there was you had Mitt Romney a long time ago in Massachusetts. You had Sununu.
Larry Hogan in Maryland was a moderate. But that
which
was
is fine.
4 years ago. Yeah.
That's the best you can get, someone who's moderate. But I think that the left isn't going to go for that anymore, and the right isn't going to go for that anymore. So
the good news is,
I watched it.
Can't run again.
Maryland just ran for Senate against Alsobrooks, right? There were the never Hogans who couldn't see the forest between the trees, like, calling him, what is it that we call rhinos, right? Calling Hogan a rhino. And it's like, you have a choice, and your choices are Hogan, who I understand isn't your perfect dream candidate, or Angela Alsobrooks, right? Who also is a socialist, right? Like, so there are so many people in the GOP, I think, or just conservatives, who write people off without really recognizing like what's in the best interest for the state, right?
So what about the theory if you have, we have a two-party system. Sorry, libertarians, just it's not happening for them. And
no, but also, like, every time a third-party system happens, look about what happened with the mayoral race, right? I'm going to draw a blank on the Republican's name who hijacked 10% of the vote, but it could have been within a margin of error potentially, right? If he had not been in that mayoral race. And to President Trump's point, a bad Democrat is better than a Democratic socialist. And so this is where it's like, you have to not think about yourself, think about what's in the best interest for your community and your state. And sometimes political candidates and politicians lose their way entirely and think more about what's in their best interest.
Yes. And they get money even if they lose. So they get donations even if they lose, even if they know they're going to lose. Maybe they have to they have to stay in because they've got campaign bills to pay off. And that's a fact. Not a good one. It's not good for the people, but it's a fact. But so if you have two parties and keep going to the fringe. And I think Trump is very much a center-right leader. I think he is trying very hard, and that's what I appreciate about him. He's trying to be practical. He's trying to make deals. The left makes him out to be something he is absolutely not. And I think with the Schumer shutdown, he tried numerous times to cut a deal, to do something that was fair. And you had even John Fetterman saying, yeah, this is a fair deal. We should do this. And, he's persona non grata in the Democrat Party now. But so when I say going farther, I'm not saying Trump, and I'm not even saying Meg. I'm just saying, as you see things going to a fringe, then I think if the media were more fair, especially the party that becomes more sane first wins. The party that can appeal to a broader group wins. But how do you do that without sacrificing core principles?
Moral high ground.
Are there some things that you have to sacrifice? Like you said, are there some things that we have to be willing to sacrifice in order to save the country from more mandamis? Or do you just go farther and farther right and say, screw it all? So what if we lose? I'm going principles first. That's the question.
Where do you compromise on your principles? I mean, for the Democrats, it was compromising on being cool with murder of your political opponents.
Right. Like, how do you, if we're going down the line here, it's like she didn't want to stand up to pedophiles in girls' bathrooms and locker rooms. She thinks boys can be girls. I don't even know if I heard any statements from Ghazala. And then JJ, there's no compromise.
Remember when, and I know we'll wrap up soon. Remember when I think I forgot which media outlet, but they posted how many seconds each local station in Virginia and national news media groups talked about Jay Jones. For most, it was 0, maybe 3. I think a lot of people didn't even know what happened. And what they did know was explained by, can't listen to them. They're exaggerating. It's not real. Don't even believe it. I wonder how much that story, because we heard it a lot. We read it a lot. It's in our ecosystem. And our
for the next 4 years. So I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's interesting. Somebody messaged me today with a similar sentiment to that. And my response respectfully is, I have no sympathy for people voting for people they don't know anything about. Like, we have a moral obligation to know who we are voting for. And I haven't always been good at that. I have learned and decided to make it a priority. And candidly, I hold everybody to that same expectation, right? If you're going to support somebody by using your right to vote, you should know who they are. Full stop.
I wouldn't say that I'm not holding them accountable, but I think that we shouldn't look at the results and think that the people that voted for Jay Jones shrugged their shoulders and said, I don't care. I think that a lot of them didn't know, or they didn't think it was real, just like they didn't think that gender transitions were happening secretly in schools until they had irrefutable evidence. So I just don't think conservatives should kind of be so depressed thinking that they all want us dead. I think that a lot of people just didn't take it seriously or didn't fully appreciate what happened for lack of knowledge. Now, they should know. We should have a more accountable media. The media is just completely unaccountable. They are in the bag for the anti-Trump.
Jamie, correct me. You can take your phone into a voting booth in Virginia. You can literally Google up Jay Jones in real time and see what you find. So like I hear you and agree with you that there are people who vote for people they know nothing about. And I say that's BS.
But I would also argue, do they really care? Like the people that are going into that ballot booth who are voting for Democrats, they're also just voting against Republicans. So I don't know if they care.
Right. And so that's not an educated vote. That's a blind vote, right? That's I'm an R or I'm a D, right? That's saying I have party allegiance, not allegiance to my country and what I think is best,
and in
right?
Virginia, you don't register for a party. I mean, so
that's
again,
even better, yeah.
We didn't have a primary. Republicans
I don't know that.
Republicans did not have a primary. And so, how many I witnessed, I think last year at the election, how many people do go in during primaries and ask? That's the only time you just ask for, the ballot of your choosing. And yeah.
So what do you think? I liked Winsome Sears' speech. I thought it was really profound. And I liked that she was, she said, I'm a Christian first and a Republican second. And everyone should be able to say that they, even if you're not a Christian, you support your family first, Republican second. Something needs to come before the term Republican, and something, because Republican shouldn't be your religion, your creed. That's what we see too much on the left. Like it's their creed. It's their like home base. But I thought her speech was really classy and inspirational. And what do you think her future is? Do you think she will be done with politics now?
I don't know.
It's a shame. She has a wonderful story. She's a true patriot.
Absolutely.
Maybe she can run for school board somewhere. She'd make a great superintendent.
Yeah, we need her. I mean, we need her in Virginia, anywhere that she is willing to be involved and advocate and lobby and work with fellow Virginians.
What about John Reed? He's a radio show host, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he'll probably be a big voice and a great ally in Virginia. Stories can, like, you all can send him stories. He'll so he could have a great media influence, continue to do that, and have a huge impact. Now,
it's always about the friends we meet along the way.
Yeah, because now people know who he is across the whole state. So now he has a much larger way to message.
I want to talk to him and Nick. What is Nick Freitas?
Oh, I love Nick Freitas.
I know. I want to get on and talk with him about this. I want his hot take.
I would really like to hear.
Her name's Hamilton. She won in Nick's. I think that was Nick's district. Hold on.
I have to hop. I've got to go. Got to keep figuring out how to move forward, prepare for the primaries, build our Moms for Liberty membership.
Hamilton.
Yep, gotta work. I know it feels so sluggish right now, but yeah, there's work to do. And I'm going to decorate for Christmas to make me happy. So I have.
Jamie, don't eat too much lasagna.
Oh, that sounds good. I'm making pork chops tonight with like a nice glaze. I'm making a nice dinner. I want to put up some.
Totally gonna eat any feelings I have about this.
What?
I said I'm totally gonna just eat any feelings I have about this. I mean, it's just.
I know I'm really hungry. I just want to eat. I don't care. There's Halloween candy. I'm gonna grab that bucket and just go to town. I know.
I'm gonna grab that bucket and go to town.
Grab that bucket. I'm gonna eat me Snickers.
I'm gonna eat my feelings so hard.
Honestly, guys, like we've lost 2 Wisconsin governor races, and it's been hard. And the last one was so close. And we've lost Supreme Court seats, and we've lost a lot. And we have another race in midterms, and we could lose everything. We could lose a lot next year. So I am watching intently what's happening, because we're next. And, it's tough. It's tough. The Trump win was so great, and the coattails and, the House and Senate, like all that was so good. But statewide, Ron Johnson's held on. He's strong, but they've redistricted Wisconsin twice already, and they chip and chip and chip away. So,
all right, we have to say something nice and hopeful. That's the rule.
Well, hopeful here. I'll put some posts up that are hopeful, because we have
from the most critical person in the group chat.
I think we have reason to hope.
Positivity.
Eyes are going to be open, first of all. Just human nature. Sometimes things have to get bad before they get better. But
Roslyn, you were lock screen on your smile, so I thought you were just excited.
I'm going to show. There's some wins here.
Sometimes when you don't have anything nice to say, it's best not to say anything at all.
Or if you have something mean to say, come sit by me.
So hope we should be putting out more of these today. Win alerts. Winning school board races. And in blue states. So there was that. Yeah, it's good news.
These are good wins. These are great wins.
We
have to focus on the most local level of government, school board elections. These people need help financially. They need help understanding and running for campaigns. Many of them are volunteers, right? They aren't getting paid to go into their elected position. They're still keeping their full-time jobs, right? And they're probably parents.
So tell you where your dollars are going. They can tell you what your dollars are helping them with.
Yep. And so what we're doing, so I think, I think that we're going to have a surge. Listen, you guys said it. Trump won. I think a lot of people were like, oh, Trump won. It's all good now. This might be the wake-up call that was needed, that there's only so much that the Trump administration can do, that Democrat states can file lawsuits, and they are dragging things out, and the wheels of change are slow, especially in the government, and we need state, local involvement. And this might be the wake-up call that, hey, we need to reinvigorate our involvement in Moms for Liberty, or we need to start a chapter. And if you're in Virginia and New Jersey and in New York, I think, yeah, let's start opening chapters.
Right.
Because it's back. It's like 2020 time again. It's going to be guerrilla warfare in the sense of like.
Not our first rodeo. That's the bonus.
Before we've done it against worse odds during 2020 and 21. So I think it's an uphill battle we can win. We were born for such a time as this.
There you go.
I do believe it, and I'll feel better in a couple of days. Jamie, you can take all the time you need.
This is what it is.
I was in a fetal position for a little while when Wisconsin lost and Biden won. I was sad. So, all right. Well, on that happy note, but this was real talk, and I enjoyed it. And I think it's the kind of conversations that I'm having in chat groups, that I'm having with my friends. So now we shared it with everyone. So, all right. Have a good day, everyone.
Yeah.
Maybe Alex can come on next week. That would be fun, because he's funny. I was hoping that he was going to make this whole conversation funnier. Make us all laugh at all the insanity, but All right, next time. All right, bye everyone. Enjoy your
Bye.
family, enjoy your day. God bless. Bye.